How's it going, everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac, and I'm here with a video on Nobody, a movie by Bob Odenkirk and 87 Productions. And it's honestly like a pretty short movie. It's an hour and 30, almost an hour and 40 minutes long, which is surprising because of the subject matter. But, I'll explain that in the spoiler section. For now, though, this movie, I wanted to watch it because I saw a clip on I don't remember if it was YouTube or Instagram, but it was like a Freebird playing behind this track. I didn't even watch it. I just saw that it was Bob Odenkirk, and I was like, yo, I remember this movie came out. I wanted to watch it, so I'm gonna watch it. This is literally all because of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Like his acting for Saul Goodman made such an impression on me that it was just like, yo, I want to watch a movie that he's in. And apparently it's an action movie too. Yeah, I want to see this. And it was surprising going into this. Like, at first, I thought that the movie was boring. Like, the first 20 minutes, I wasn't really that engaged. Like, I will say, like, while the start of it was kind of creative with the way it was going, I wasn't interested. Like, I genuinely just wasn't interested. And it didn't grab me until, like, honestly, 25 to 30 minutes into the movie where we start to learn more about the main character. We start to learn more about his situation, his surroundings, and just what type of person he was before his life with his family, right? And it was interesting. It was really cool. But once that happens, the movie just kicks it into high gear because the action starts coming into play. And the first scene that I saw that was like an action set piece was the video of him fighting with Freebird in the back. And it was like, oh shoot, this is so cool. And that scene, because again, I didn't watch the video. I just clicked on it for like a second, watched 5 seconds. I was like, I want to watch this movie now. And again, like I was disappointed with the beginning, so I was like, dang man, is this movie gonna be a wash? Like, am I even gonna be able to make a video on it? And if I am, is it gonna be a good review? But I really enjoyed the rest of the movie. Like I thought it was cool. It wasn't like a 10 or a 9 or an 8, but it was definitely like a 7.5 for sure. It really shaped up around that mark, like the 30-minute mark. It just really started going crazy with all the musical numbers, or excuse me, all the music, all the action, all the set pieces, all the shots. Like it really kicked it into high gear once it started. Like it showed its hand. It was really cool. And for how short it is, it could have been longer with some scenes, but I enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed it. I feel like it didn't overstay its welcome. It could have been better. I feel like the introduction could have been better. But overall, this movie's fun. It's cool. It's it it's short as well. So again, it's just like it's not too hard to watch. It's not like John Wick where the fourth movie is almost 3 hours long. But again, John Wick 4 wasn't like it was great to watch. It's not like it was a bad thing to watch. So this, it was short, concise, sweet, and enjoyable overall. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5. Again, well not again, but acting was good. I feel like the action was great. The story was alright. It wasn't anything crazy. The more we learned about it, the cooler it got. But at its base, it's a simple story that shouldn't really happen. But I don't know. I'll explain later. But yeah, 7.5. Decent movie. Some would say even good movie. Some would say it's a 6. Some would say it's a 5. I don't blame you if you say that. But for me, like the second half of the movie really just brought it up for me. So that's what I'm gonna give it. But yeah, let me. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring down the movie to a 7. I just remembered like how boring I really thought the introduction was. It's a 7. It's closer to a 6 than it is an 8. So yeah, spoiler free section over. Spoilers begin. So this movie is about Bob Odenkirk, aka Hutch Mansell, and he's a guy who works at a factory, right? And it's a factory owned by his wife's father and brother, right? And he just works every day, goes to work. He has a routine of like he wakes up, he makes coffee, he jogs, he goes to the bus, he goes to work, he comes back home, sees his family and goes to bed. Repeats it every single day, right? And it's monotonous. It's monotonous, but it's his life. He's enjoying it. And one day, people come into his house and they rob his house. And he's downstairs and he's like, "Yo, what's going on?" He has a golf club and everything, and he didn't swing. He what's it called? He was getting ready to fight them, but he got caught, and he's like, "All right, just take the money on the counter and my watch. That's it." just take that and you're gone, right? And they take it, but his son, he comes down and he tackles one of the people, one of the guys, because it's a guy and a girl, it's a couple, and he tackles him, and he's like, "Yo, Dad, come on, beat him up, bro. We got him, I got him." And Hutch, which is his name, yeah, he's like, "No, son, just let him go, just let him go." And while you may think it questionable, like, "Oh, come on, man, you're supposed to protect your family," because they had a gun, like they did have a gun. The girl had a gun, and she was shaking. She was afraid. She seemed like she didn't want to shoot, and that like any person could tell. But it's a high like emotion situation, so if you couldn't tell, then that's perfectly fine. It's understandable. But all of his neighbors have that mindset of like even the cops that come afterwards, like you were supposed to protect your family, but you didn't. You let them rob you and get away. You're a coward. Like you're genuinely a coward. And then I was just like, whatever, man. My family's alive. Our house is still intact. None of us are hurt, except for my son. But he got a black eye, and that's because the guy tackling. He tackled the guy, and it's like it's whatever. It's a black guy. He'll live. But his son's disappointed in his father, and he's like, "Yo, come on, man. What was that? Like, you're supposed to be the man of the house. How did I step up, but you didn't?" And his wife is just like, "Come on, man. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening?" Like everybody's looking down on him except for his daughter, right? It's a family of four. His daughter's the youngest, and she's like, "Dad, I love you. You're a great man." And he's like, "Thank you, thank you." But yeah, he goes back to work and all that. His wife's brother is just like, "Yo, what happened, man? What's going on?" And then he's like, "It was a situation. It was handled, all that stuff." And he's like, "All right, well, just in case, then keep this." And he gives him a gun, and he's like, "Bro, put that away. I do not want that." And then the guy is like, "It's not about you wanting it. It's about you protecting my sister. Because if you won't, then I will." And then he leaves, and Hutch puts it in the freezer, and then all that stuff. And he goes back home, and he's just like, "Man, it's been rough. It's been rough." And he sees his daughter, he sees his son and wife, and it's just like, "Yeah, what's going on?" All that stuff. And his wife's been distant from him for a while now, but it's been rough for him even before this incident. And so he's talking to his daughter, and she's just like, "Hey, where'd my bracelet go? I swear I thought it was in the bowl where the money was." And then he's like, "You sure it was there?" And she's like, "Yes, it was there." And then Hachu loses it. He storms out of the house. He goes to his dad, and he's like, "Dad, I'm about to do something stupid." And he's like, "All right, son, good luck." And his dad's in a retirement home, so he's old, like he's old. And Hutch goes on the bus, and he just goes looking for people that know this tattoo, right? And because he noticed that the girl in the gun with the gun had a tattoo. And what we learn quickly is that Hutch is more than what he seems. While the movie is called Nobody, and it's about Hutch, the man is not a nobody, or at the very least, like we know he's more than just what some would call a nobody. That man is important. We just don't know why yet. And so he finds the couple after going to tattoo artist and just seeing this insignia, and he goes there. He holds the guy gunpoint. His wife is next to him, and what Hutch finds out, because he was actually about to beat them up and take what they had. He finds out that they have a baby, a newborn baby, with a respirator on it, and he feels sympathy because he has children. He's a family man first and foremost, because even though they intruded on his life and almost could have costed them their lives, he still had sympathy. They're people at the end of the day, and so is he. So he leaves, and he's just super upset because he would have been the bad guy if he killed them, if he didn't notice them. He would have been the bad guy for sure. And he just starts losing it. He starts punching a wall. He's super upset, and he goes back into the bus. There's three people on the bus, including him. And this is where the scene starts, where I told you about the video with Freebird playing. And he's sitting all the way in the back. A girl is on the left, and the guy is in like up in the front in the right side, because you're staring down the middle since he's in the back, right? And guys walk in, like they crash into like a stand where that blocks off like construction and stuff like that, and they get on the bus because they stop the bus. It's just like six guys, all look like hoodlums, all look like menaces and thugs, right? They get on the bus, they start harassing the guy up front. They knock the book out of his hand. They start like staring him down. And the guy's just like, "You know what, man, I don't need this. Like, I'm not trying to risk my life today." these guys seem like people I do not want to mess with, so I'm just gonna go. And like he was taller than me. He like he looked like he was down to box, bro. He looked like he was ready, but he just realized that like my life is worth more than my pride. So like I'm leaving, I'm gone. And then the girl is getting harassed. Like she's like in her 20s, like early 20s, maybe mid 20s, and she's just getting harassed by like all the guys and all that. And then Hutch, in his mind, he's just like, God, please let these guys step on the bus. I want to beat them up so bad. I want to beat the piss out of them, bro. Excuse my language. I, I, I think that's a swear, actually. I don't know. You guys let me know down below. But yeah, he wants to beat the bricks out of them. And they step on the bus. They're all doing all the shenanigans. And then he gets all the way up into the front of the bus, right? He passes by them, and he tells the bus driver to get off of the bus. He forces her off of the bus, and he pulls out his gun. He's like, I want to beat you guys up. I want to beat the f out of you guys. And it's a revolver, right? It's a revolver. So he empties the chamber. There's 6 bullets, which he easily could have used to kill all of them because that was enough to kill all of them. But he wants to beat them up personally. Like, no guns involved, no weapons, just him and his fists. And he drops his gun and he just goes for it, bro. And what's amazing about this fight is when I saw a comment on the video and it was like this fight is so brutal. Like it's not like John Wick where John Wick is a martial artist. He's a tactician. He's smart and he's important. That man has instinct. Hutch is smart, he's strong, and he has skill, but he's not John Wick. That man is like 40 to 50. That man is old. He he can fight. He's really good at that, but he's not John Wick. And that's what I like about it is that there's a human aspect to it because we don't get like a scene like this for almost like the rest of the movie where it's just him fighting people where he's outmatched in terms of numbers but on equal footing in terms of pure skill and ability. Like that man was ready to box and it showed because he was just swinging left and right doing his crazy fighting. He even like ripped off a part of the bus and just swung at a guy. He used their own weapons against them. Some guy tried to pick up his gun and he just swung at him, bro. Knocked the gun out of his hands again, and it was just like, dog. He brutally massacred them. Like they're not dead, or at the very least not like close to dead, but their wounds are irreparable. They are barely alive if they live. Like they almost all died. One of them, he had to cut open a hole in his neck and put a straw in it to keep him alive because he was that close to dying and it was just like, yo, what the heck? What is happening? And he gets off the bus and he tells the girl like beforehand like, yo, get off of the bus, you do not want to be here. And the girl's rushing away and she's like, thank you so much. And then after that he goes to the bus driver because she was about to call the police and he took her phone, didn't break it, he just put it in the bus where he was. And he gives it back to her at the end and he's like, I'm sorry for the mess. And then he goes back home all bruised and tattered and then he's like, hi kids, hi wife, how's it going? And then they're just like, bro, what happened to you? And it's like it was a rough day. Actually, no, excuse me. It was his wife that was late because it was really late at night, and she just couldn't sleep because she didn't know where he was. And she's fixing him up and all that, and they're just like he starts addressing the fact that she's been really distant to him and he misses her, and he wants to care for her and love her again. And it feels like it's like when Walter White where his life was just it was soulless, it was vibeless. He was the second fiddle in a relationship where he wasn't on equal footing with his wife. They weren't making nearly the same money, and he just felt like he was a yes man to her. Right? There wasn't much love in it, or at least he didn't feel much love to it. And it's kind of similar here, where the relationship didn't feel like there was love in it. But now that he's gotten his life back after doing all that, he feels love again and wants to, make things work. And so she reciprocates by like showing more love and affection to him, which is really cool. But the next morning they all wake up and they're just like, "Yo, what happened to you, Dad?" And they're just like, it is what it is, right? I got into a tussle with some people, but you should have seen the other guys. And then his son's like, "Yeah, that's fire." And his neighbor, by the way, like the night after the burglar or the burglars, all that stuff, he brought like I forgot what the car is called. Was it a Chevy? I don't remember. It was a sports car basically. And he's like, this car goes fast. It has like a V8, all that stuff. And Remember that card. Just remember that. I have to make that important. And so he leaves to go to work, all that stuff, and he wants to buy the company and all that. But he comes back home. He's talking to his family, and they're just like, "Yo, we should go out to Italy. It's been a long time." And his wife is like, "Yeah, let's do that. That sounds sick. That sounds fire." And meanwhile, over in the city, you have what's this dude's name? Julian, which is spelled with a Y instead of Julian, and he's Russian. You know, like every other Russian guy in movies apparently. Or you have Yosef with a Y and stuff like that. Seems like a stereotype. I don't know. I'm not Russian, so I wouldn't know. But it's besides the point. So he's there partying, and he finds out that one of the guys that got beat up was his brother, and he hated him. He hated his brother, but regardless, it's family. You know, you don't choose your family. You still have to side by them no matter what. And he's like, all right, who was the guy that did this? And now they're on a manhunt trying to find this guy. And then they find out it's Hutch. So they basically start raiding his house. Like they he sees the cars. Like Hutch sees the cars pulling up to his house, and he's like, all right, it's business then. And by the way, his Hutch's brother has been talking to him all this time throughout like a device, not a phone, but more like a radio, and that's how they communicate through comms. Like not all the time, but sometimes. And he calls his brother like, "Yo," or excuse me, Hutch gets a call from his brother. I think his name is Harvey, and he's like, "Yo, you're gonna get pulled up on by Julian. Be prepared." And Hutch sees all this, and they start coming into his house. And it's kind of like John Wick, where the first time that he got pulled up on in his house, or excuse me, the second time, he was ready. It was super sick. And what's it called? It's the same here with Hutch. When he has a gun, he's unstoppable, bro. The man is crazy. He is insane, and he just beat up like 8 guys in his house. He didn't get out scot free because they knocked him out, and he locked his family in the basement to protect them because it's like a safe basically, and only he has the code to get them out. And he gets knocked out after taking out like 5 of the guys. 3 of them are in a car, and Hutch is in the trunk, right? And he has his wits, you know. He finds a fire extinguisher in the car, and he uses it because the car is in the middle, you know, in the back seats. They have a middle hatch that you can pull down, and it has access to the trunk, like old cars especially. And he pulls that down by like kicking it in, and he uses the fire extinguisher to crash the car and kill everybody in the front. Harvey was fine because he was in the trunk, but like people died. All 3 of them died, and he starts telling a story to one of the guys under the car who was able to like halfway get his body out. He's like, so you know, I used to be an auditor for the CIA, any like a 3-letter organization that you can remember, and what that really means is if you see me, you do not want to see me. And I used to handle their business. You know, I used to be the dirty guy, the guy who got his hands dirty. And then the guy dies before Harvey can finish his story. And he's like, dang, all right. And then he goes back to find his family, and they're in the basement still. He gets them out, and he's like, yo, you guys need to go. Like, do not come back until I call you to tell you it is safe, okay? And his wife is like, are you going to tell me what's happening? And he's like, yeah, after I'm done. Don't worry. You just got to trust me, all right? I love you. And then she's like, all right, after you're done. And she takes the kids away, and now it's just Hutch versus Julian, where Hutch goes to his to Julian's like main money well money I guess earner in a sense, the Obshaka I think is what it's called, or Oshaka. And it's basically like they print money, they earn money, all that stuff off of illegal business, and he makes money off of buying and selling paintings, right? And Hutch, I keep calling him, wanting to call him Harvey, but he goes over there and he has like C4, he has guns, he's ready, right? He goes in there killing people, and it's super short. Like they cut the scene down a lot, and this is why I said like the movie could have been like 20 minutes longer, or longer at least, because some scenes just feel short when it comes to action. Like this scene felt short for sure. So once he's like cleared out all of the building and he's burned the building down, he actually burned it down. Oh, and by the way, he also burned down his house, and that's how he got to the Oshaka because he stole his neighbor's car after hot wiring it, and he burned the house down to Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World," which a lot of musical numbers in this movie for some reason. Don't know why, but yeah, they're there. And he basically burns down the Oshaka as well, burning all the money that's in there, all the paintings, all that stuff, and all the valuables. And he goes over to Yulian, who's in the club next door, or like close to it, and he's at the front in the club, like eating, right? He's eating, and he has like his hands on the table, just chilling, right? And Yulian, once he finishes his number, like he's doing karaoke, he goes over to Hutch because he notices him in the crowd, and he's clapping audaciously. And Hutch is just like, "What a beautiful voice! You know, you're doing great." And he's like, "Is what nerve do you have to show up in my club?" And he's like, "A lot of it apparently." And then like guys are surrounding Hutch, like all around him. And then they pull out guns all around, like it looks like the John Wick 2 trailer, like or poster, excuse me. And Hutch we just went to go use a napkin, right? But what was under the napkin was a claymore, and if he detonated it, all of them would have been dead. Every single one of them. So he's like, "Don't try me. I will do it." And Julian's like, "Yo, everybody leave. Get out." And it's just him and Hutch talking. And Hutch is just like trying to broker a deal, right? Like, "Yo, I heard you've been wanting to get out the business. I've given you an offer. I've given you an out. By destroying your business and basically feigning your death, you can get out, you know?" It's like John, you know, it's like John Wick where he wants to get out. And he's giving Yulian a chance, even though Hutch burned down everything and has given him nothing left. Like that's not how we want it to go out, but it is an option. Like it genuinely is an option. It's trying to end this with a tete-a-tete, I think, or a ta-ta-ta. I forgot what it's called in French, but you know, it's a peace offering. You know, like I'm here to end this not because I'm weak, but because I don't want a prolonged war, and neither do you. You know, I know that we're both men with things to lose, so don't prolong this if you don't want to, Julian. And Julian's just like, "Dog, you burned down my facility. I'm not going to let you live." Or excuse me, like he finds out that he burned down the facility, and uh, Hutch is just like, I'll give you some time to think it over." And he goes to his car and he's waiting, and they all walk out and they just start chasing him. So he just have this crazy chase where they're all trying to get him, and it's just super cool. Like there's this one scene where he's just like, you know, the driver's seat, like he kind of reclines it, and he reclined it so bullets wouldn't hit him. And while he's driving, he has like his head peeked up a little bit so he can shoot his SMG, his Uzi or Mac 10, I don't know what it's called. And he's also steering, and he's also looking where he's shooting. It's just super cool. Like it's super cool, and it's just a crazy scene overall. Like a lot happened in it. But he goes back to the building that he works at because one thing I didn't mention was that he bought out the building, and it's his now. He used a bunch of gold that he had saved up, and he's like, "Yo, um, my wife's father, let me buy this building." And the guy's like, "Sure, sure." Takes all the gold, and then his brother, or well, the guy's son is just like, "No, what the heck, bro? Like, what am I supposed to do if you buy the building?" He's like, "I don't know, and I do not care. So get out." And then he takes the building, he prioritizes it, and makes it like a trap, basically, where if you walk in, there's a bunch of like nail bombs and traps and barbed wire and explosives and claymores, all this stuff, like just set up. It's super cool. And he goes back, he finds that his brother Harvey and his dad are actually there because his dad is also like a crazy guy. Like he's cracked. Same with Harvey. Harvey's a sniper, and his dad is just a shotgun wielding akimbo master, or not akimbo, but just master. And they're all there, and they're like, "Yo, Hutch, we're here for you, nigga. Like, what's going on?" And it's like, "Yo, this is so sick, bro. This is so sick." So, now I keep calling him Harvey. Hutch goes into the building, and they're all coming after him. You're like, they're chasing him. And one scene actually I forgot to mention, we see that Hutch's dad is actually crazy because some guys walk into his nursing home, and they're trying to kill him, and they think that they're gonna kill him in his sleep. And he sees, you know, he opens his eyes because he was awake the whole time, and he puts the safety on the gun that's pointed directly at his head. He knocks it away, and he pulls out a shotgun from underneath his quilt, and he kills both of them. And then he puts the guy's face into his chest, and it's like some of the nursing home people show up and they're like, "Yo, what happened? What happened?" And then Harvey's, or excuse me, Hutch's dad is just like nothing. It's just that the TV is super loud. He's like, "Come on, man, turn it down, bro. Come on." And then he smothers him in like in his chest. It was super crazy. It was so cool. But yeah, back to the building. It's just like a gauntlet. Everybody's running the gauntlet. Harvey, Hutch, and his and their dads, like, cause they're brothers. I forgot to mention that, or I did mention that, but just like to reiterate, they're brothers, and they're just running through this gauntlet all together. Super cool, and it leaves Hutch and Julian, because everybody else is dead. Harvey got a bullet to the shoulder. He's not dying, but he is hurt, and their dad is out of ammo, so he can't do anything. He's also old, so it's just Julian versus Hutch, and Hutch still has that C4, that, oh, not C4, that Claymore, and Julian has like a fully automatic assault rifle, and so he finds a riot shield next to him. Hutch does, and he rushes forward with the C4 like on the shield, and he has the pin next to him, and Julian is shooting at the or at the riot shield, trying to avoid the claymore, but Hutch, since he has the riot shield and it hasn't broken, he pulls the pin right in front of Julian, and it kills him. Like, it genuinely kills him, and it knocks Harvey back, like probably like breaking a couple bones. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry about that. That's just some people on the street. But but yeah, they're done. They won. Like, they fought Julian and his crew, and they won. Not unscathed, but they did win. And now Hutch has to go back to his family, explain everything, and just try to reconcile, like, yo, I love you, I want to come back to you. And he finds a cat in the office, somehow miraculously not dead, and there's like cat food in the building, and it's kind of like John, like, I keep akinning it to it, but it's true. Like, this movie is so similar to John Wick, and I wouldn't be surprised if it took inspiration from it, because I think 87 Studios is one of the studios that helped make John Wick, because I know Thunder Road did it, but I don't remember who else. So maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. But this movie is like John Wick 1 and John Wick 2, like, combined. Like, some of John Wick 2 and a lot of John Wick 1. But it's Bob Odenkirk instead, right? And it's like, I don't mind that. I generally don't mind that because I like John Wick. And this, while it may be similar, it has its differences. Like, again, Hutch isn't John Wick. And I think that's perfectly fine. Because while he's good, he's not immortal. John Wick feels like he's immortal, except for like in 4 or maybe 3 and some in 2, right? But like, he's not John Wick. And again, I'm not trying to discredit John Wick. I think they're all great. I think all those movies are great. But it's just seeing that human side of Hutch, like, more in the sense that he's not perfect, he's fallible, really just makes him really, really cool. Like, because the fact that he's doing all this makes it even better because he's so human. But yeah, at the end of the movie, it just shows Hutch and his wife buying a new house after 3 months, and after he got questioned by the police because or the police, not police. He has a cat. He's feeding his cat, and he has a cigarette. And he's like, "Why am or well, I'm here." And then the two interrogators just like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm nobody." And they're like, "Oh, psh, well, what an answer." And then they get a call, and you can probably assume that it's the CIA because, like, Hutch is an important guy. He's a guy behind the scenes, but he's an important guy. So they let him go. And again, buying a house, and he gets a call, and it's his brother. It's his brother talking to him, and he's like, "Yo, people are coming." And then Hutch is just like, "Do you have?" And then his wife finishes the sentence, "A basement," and then that's when the movie ends. And hopefully there's a sequel. I really do hope that there's a sequel, because if they can improve on this movie, I really might like start liking this series because it's so cool. If they turn it into a series, that'll be cool. If not, that's perfectly fine. I feel like this movie had a great way of ending itself. It was short, sweet, to the point, and it really turned around during like the 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 later hour of the movie. So it was like, oh, it's so cool. And I don't mean that like, oh, an hour in. I mean like the rest of the hour left after you're 30 minutes into the movie. So that's that. But this movie is great. I think it's good. Not perfect, but it's good. I feel like it's a 7, like I said before. I think the acting's good. I think the scenes are great. I think the story's all right. excuse me, this heartburn. Overall, I think it's just cool, and like I don't really have much else to say about it. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. Could have been better, yes. Could it have been worse, yes. And that intro to me showed that it could have been. But you know, that's just my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here for now. Thank y'all for watching. Hope y'all enjoy. Sorry this was a long one. I really wanted to talk about it because it was so recent in my mind, but also not a lot happened in this movie, so I want to talk about it in detail. Also, sorry about how my upload schedule has been. I haven't had videos where it's on the same day, and I always love doing that. But since I'm still in school and like this semester's really kicking me, like I'm doing good, but it's hard, you know, because it's a lot of assignments and all that, and I'm still not done. But you know, I'm trying to just like get content out to you guys, and it's just a bunch of reviewer content, which I'm sorry about. It's not a lot of gaming content, but you know, this is the best that I'm able to do, like the best that I want to do, without just having like hashed out, not hashed out, but like boring content. At least like what I don't consider boring. If you guys consider it boring, let me know. Like I can try to change, but you know, I don't write scripts or nothing like that. So that's why it's just all off the cuff and it's off the dome. You know, that's basically what it is. So you know, content should be getting better soon, like around summer. So this video is going out like I think Saturday, so June 14th, maybe 15th, around there. But yeah, you know, so just be on the lookout for that. But yeah, we'll see you all in the next video. Peace.